creating tension in John Carpenter's The Thing. I am a huge fan of John Carpenter and have always loved his movies. I love the low-budget aspect of them and was amazed at what he could do with a limited budget and a good script. He was able to do so much because of his ability to do everything there was, including creative soundtrack. He created one of the most infamous themes of all time in his trend-setting horror movie Halloween. He then went on to do several scores of his other films, including my personal favorite, Big Trouble in Little China. However, his arguably most famous or possibly infamous movie was his chilling, out-of-this-world thriller/horror, The Thing, which was scored by Ennio Morricone. Ennio was first brought to my attention through Quentin Tarantino's The Hateful Eight, which he also scored. While reading articles about the movie, I read that Quentin Tarantino was going to use a song from the score from The Thing, which was never used. But why would John Carpenter not use an Ennio soundtrack? After all, we learned through our reading that Ennio was an incredible and famous composer. His name comes second on the credits. So why didn't Carpenter use more of his incredible soundtrack? The short answer is, because he didn't need to. There are only 2 tracks off the entire Ennio soundtrack that Carpenter used, Humanity Part 1 and Part 2. Even though Part 2 is just a synthesizer version which Ennio recorded because he knew Carpenter was used to it, and Carpenter was, as this was the theme he would continuously go back to throughout the movie. The theme starts off with a slow, low, and pulsing beat which is used throughout the beginning of the movie to give a sinister feeling to the opening scenes which lack the severe tension of the rest of the film. More importantly, it highlights the suspicious activity of the dog in the film. One of my favorite scenes is the sound bridge between the pulsing beat to the diegetic Superstition by Stevie Wonder playing over Knowles' radio.
Knowles, will you turn that crap down? I'm trying to get some sleep. I was shot today.
This scene really shows off what John wanted from the music of the film, to serve as an undertone to otherwise dull moments. In an interview with NPR, Carpenter talks about the various trends in composing movie scores, starting with Max Steiner in composing each of King Kong's footsteps, to the minimalist approach of the 60s and 70s during which Carpenter primarily worked. He laments how modern music needs to spell everything out for the viewer, and wishes that modern composers would let scenes stand on their own. In The Thing, he never uses intense music during an intense action scene, instead only using it when looking over the remains of various things. This teaches the viewer to associate the music with the thing, and from then on, whenever the viewer hears that music, they will be able to also hear and feel the tension and anxiety of trying to find an alien amongst their friends.
Nobody trusts anybody now. We're all very tired. Nobody trusts anybody now. There's nothing else I can do. Just wait. R.J. McCready, helicopter pilot, U.S. Outpost number 31.
However, the choice of not using music during any of the more gruesome action scenes tells the viewer that they cannot rely on the music to tell them when the danger is coming. This fits well with the style of the movie, as the movie doesn't rely on jump scares to entice fear. Most modern horror uses jump scares during long, quiet periods to get cheap scares out of the audience, and all of the frightening sights are played into by the music, allowing the viewer to brace themselves for the fear. John gives the viewer no warning, and often has the monster show itself during commotions or when there is a lot going on. This makes the viewer always on edge, as the frightening monster could pop out at any time, from anyone. This mastery of movie sound pulls into the central theme of the movie. It's paranoia. The film not only sets up the men of the outpost as being hunted brutally, but also sets up the idea that they can't trust each other, and that is the source of the tension. Carpenter keeps up that tension throughout the entire movie because of his use of sound. Even at the end, when the only two men left on the outpost are Childs and McCready, the viewer is still unsure if the men are who they say they are. John drives this point home by playing the music reserved for the alien in moments of distrust when Childs appears.
You the only one who made it?
Not the only one.
Did you kill it?
Where were you, Charles?
Thought I saw Blair. I went out after him. Got lost in the storm. Fire's got the temperature up all over the camp. Won't last long, though.
Neither will we.
This ending is one of the most widely debated endings in film history. According to Carpenter himself and other cast members, there is no clear answer as to whether or not one of the men is the Thing. And that was the point of the movie, leaving the viewer with final notes of paranoia. However, that hasn't stopped audiences from gathering evidence to support their side of the debate. Some say that the final drink shared is gasoline, and since Childs is a Thing, he can't tell it apart from scotch. Others say that because Childs has no visible breath, it means he's been replaced. Some say that McCready is the Thing because he can't drink scotch, which is poison to us in the Thing. Yet, if someone is to make a guess based on the music, then Childs would certainly be the Thing. I have no clue which answer is right, but I do know that it takes a mastery of filmmaking to create such visuals, sounds, and atmospheric tension that people are still talking about it to this day.